Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings. Everton 0, Brighton 3. I've had better opening days. That was up there. That must be one of the worst opening days. It wasn't quite Arsenal in 2009-10 season, but it wasn't great. It was not great at all. And I think for a lot of people that will have started at 1:45 when the team was announced. And said this before about Sean Dyche. I know he doesn't really buy into the feelings of the fans, which is odd because I do. There has been times when he's changed this. Well, like Yerry Mina situation at the back end of season before. And maybe last season with Branthwaite coming for Michael Keane. But fans want to be excited. They pay a lot of money. They go to the games, home and away, and they want to be excited and they want to see something different. And the idea of Michael Keane still starting games for Everton and Mason Holgate coming on the pitch for Everton are things that Everton fans just... You know what? Fans, we will take a lot, but when that happens... when those things are happening, I think that's for us where we look at the situation and go, no, you've had all summer to sort a few things out, and we're still being fed these players that just aren't good enough. Quite frankly, aren't good enough. So I think the manager's made mistakes there, and I know he's come out afterwards, and I know he said about O'Brien not being ready, and Michael Keane's had a good pre-season. Well, that's not what fans want to hear. You paid 16 million or 15 million for a new centre-back. He's either ready or he's not ready, and if he's not ready, then maybe you shouldn't be paying that money for him. And if there's an opportunity to play him, maybe you should have played him. Same with Dixon today. Dixon's played all pre-season and he's not even afforded a space on the bench. I find that incredible when we are in the position we are in for right backs. I said it last week about him not playing, coming on when Seamus got injured. I found it staggering. I know decisions are made in football which are, we can look at the bigger picture and say, well, is a player ready or not player? When you're down to a situation where you've got one 39-year-old playing right back, another one out injured, and you've got a young kid who can come in and play right back, you've got to have him on the bench, and it's sink or swim time. Some players swim, some players are not ready. I'd like to have seen Dixon given that opportunity. I think this club is guilty in the last few years of letting young players walk out the door for nothing because big chances weren't taken on them. Listen, we all know that we've had players at this club that aren't ready, may never be the quality. But there's also time when maybe those players can fit little moments in time and they never get the opportunity. And I think Dixon today should have been on the bench and should have at least been on the bench, because that's a position where we needed a backup player. And for the backup player to be Mason Holgate or Dwight McNeil going to right back, which was just farcical, absolutely farcical. It's I think today was like one of those things where it's like, this is how bad it can be. Do we expect it to be like that bad all the time? No, because it's similar to last season, isn't it? It's similar to the start of last season where we weren't ready. This is the problem when you don't have money and your recruitment is poor, is that you're never ready for the first day of the season. And Brighton look completely ready and are still buying players. And we're, if you want to look at two clubs who have got completely different philosophies, look at Everton, look at Brighton. Brighton have done it exactly the right way, and we've done it completely the wrong way. And that's why they are adding players to their squad this week for £30 million, £25-30 million, and we're scraping around for loans or frees or whatever, or waiting for players to leave. we really are scraping round, and it's today showed that. And I wouldn't mind for the first 20 minutes. I thought we were sound, but we can't put the ball in the back of the net. And then they got the goal, and it just carried on, and then the sending off compounded things. And when that 9 minutes went up, and the ground was basically empty, and I know again Sean Dyche has been asked about that, and I found this reply slightly strange, considering how bad we were today for a good hour. I found that slightly strange. Again, it's not what he's saying, it's how he says it, almost in like, well, that's what you've got to put up with here, as in like we're the problem again, as in like he mightn't have been saying that, and I'm waiting to get the proper post-match interviews sent over. He mightn't have been saying that before, but it's how it comes across, I think. And that's the problem I've always had with Sean Dyche, is how he puts things across always seem like, not that he's talking down to people, just that, like, you don't matter, almost. And he mightn't feel it, mightn't be that way, it was just the way. But as I said, I think the game, for many people, was lost 1-2. You've got to create that atmosphere. Sean Dyche again has a great way of putting a pin in the balloon. I find anyway. But listen, it was what it was. We played a better team. We didn't take the chances we got early on. The penalties. I know penalty, but I think penalties, because I thought the one on Mykolenko in the first half, there should have been more. The players should have been screaming in the ref's face. I thought the lad took Mykolenko out, whether he won the ball or not. That they get given now. And the Don one, I still haven't seen the Don one. But for a ref to go over to a screen, and the screen to not work, and take the advice of VAR, who's refereeing the game, I find that very, very strange. And also, if it's not a penalty, why is a referee 5 yards away giving a penalty? If it's not a penalty, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That he can't see from 5 yards if it's a penalty or not. Yeah. Listen, we all knew it was going to be a tough season. I didn't really fancy us today, if I'm honest. Brighton are a good side, and I just knew that we'd be starting the season pretty slow because of the players we've got available to us. That back four was shocking today. It really was. It just looked like it was like they were all infecting each other. We'll come on to it more, but I thought the back four were terrible, and the front three were poor as well. And just the general tactics, playing diagonals into the wide men is something we did last season, but people will understand that tactic now, so they'll work that out very, very quickly, and you have to do something else. And Brighton were full of pace, and we haven't got any pace. We haven't got any pace whatsoever, and to go into a season basically starting the game with basically the same team we had last season, bar one player, that's yeah. And the idea of whether we're going to get more players, team needs to settle down very, very quickly, and we need to get those players back that are out to bolster the squad. And maybe tough decisions need to be made. Maybe on some players, whether they're staying or whatever. Yeah. Just going back to the Mykolenko one in the first half, I thought the lad went through Mykolenko, and I was disappointed. He did win the ball, I appreciate that. It was a bit disappointed not to see any of our players even ask for anything, when all Brighton did today was players going down, holding themselves, blah blah blah. It's what everyone do. We're just too honest. And as I said with the Don one, I don't know if it's a pen or not. I don't know. But it's not that. It's the point that he was sent over to the screen, and the screen wasn't working, and a ref from 5 yards give a penalty, and yeah, he's overruled. That's poor in my eyes. Anyway, let's get on with the actual play ratings. Jordan Pickford had to make 2 saves. Yeah, it was all right. Some of his kicking at times was a little bit hasty. He had to come out of his box a couple of times as well, but Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. But I just the kicking was a couple of moments with this kicking, but don't know if there's anything could have done for any of the goals today. I think 2 of the goals were just passed into the back of the net. So 6.5 Pickford. Ashley Young, it was always good. Do you know what was mad for most of the game? I thought Ashley Young was not, when people being worried about the pace of Matoma, it was more on the other side. We were getting done with the pace. And don't get me wrong, he wasn't having a great game at anything. He won 6 out of his 8 ground duels, but but the one he gets sent off for is just, it's abysmal, because you know if that happens, if Matoma gets the wrong side of him, it's all over. And he's he's done that to himself. He's done that to himself, and I just don't get the idea of pulling a player down. I just don't get it. Listen, we've got to keep good keeper. Let's see, run back, make it awkward for him, and let's see what happens. But just to pull him down, what it's a red card. I'd rather have given up another goal than go down to 10 men, where you're always going to be under the cosh against a team with so much possession, and you're out for a game, which I'm sure some people will be happy about. But I just find that decision making for a player of his experience utterly insane. And who knows, maybe the manager will have to make a tough decision now on the situation for next week, whether he does bring in Dixon just to put on the bench. But at the moment, that's Mason Holgate starting right back next week. It's 2024. That can't be happening. It just can't be happening. Who knows? Seamus might be back. I'm not sure Patterson will be back at all, but I know he's back on the grass. But I just find that decision making really, really bad. Really, really bad. So Ashley Young, a 1, basically. Michalenko on the other side, I thought it was a difficult day for him as well. Only won 2 of his 6 ground duels, I thought. Minte, had him on toast. Done him for the first goal. I don't think he had a particularly good game, if I'm honest. As I said, I think the pace unsettled him all game. He never got forward particularly well. And again, it was a date to forget for Michalenko. Now, you could put that down to the fact that maybe he's not had as much of a pre-season as everybody else with the injury, with being away at the Euros, but I think he got destroyed pace-wise today. And of course, by a player that, could have been playing for Everton if things had been slightly different. I didn't think he had a very good game at all today. But as I said before, I thought the whole back four were atrocious today. I think they all looked slightly off one way or another. So yeah, Michalenko, I would give a 5 today. James Tarkowski, I thought he was poor as well. I mean, it started with him trying to do Cruyff turns in the box, which he completely flapped, and then luckily the lad just threw himself on the floor rather than doing anything with the ball. But I thought he was poor today. Won 3 of his 6 ground duels. Only won 1 of his 3 aerial duels. I thought he was all over the place. Now I don't know whether that's because he's playing alongside Michael Keane or what he's being asked to do because Branthwaite's not there. Maybe have more of the ball. He kept on trying to make clever angles for passes. Yes, he's playing those diagonals. Him and Michael Keane are playing those diagonals, but he had 14 long balls, 6 of them were accurate. I thought he was poor again. He looked all right early on in the opposition box, and obviously provided a couple of decent headers. Jack Harrison's, put the ball in the back of net for one of them, but obviously was offside. But I just thought he looked ropey today. And again, he's not had a full pre-season because he was injured. I just thought he looked really ropey, really, really ropey today. As I said, it felt like it was infectious amongst the defenders. It was just he was just not very good at all. And he could, we really needed him today. Really needed that little bit of consistency because of the players around him. It is a makeshift, obviously not your first choice right back, not one of your first choice centre backs, so it's a little bit makeshift. But I thought he was poor. So, 5.75. Michael Keane started. I thought he started the game all right, and then as the game went along, it just sort of went the way most people would expect. He did win 5 out of 5 aerial duels. I think that was it the second goal. The second goal, the way he just backed off. And allowed was Welbeck to just keep running. I mean, it wasn't his fault because obviously Ghana gave the ball away, but everyone just sort of backed off and he just allowed them to run into the space. The manager can say See, this is what I just don't get about the manager, right? The manager's Marmite, I get that, right? But we're not stupid. Fans are not stupid. We've been watching these players for long enough. We're not stupid. And you create a tension. You create an atmosphere of negativity when you pick certain players. Now, I'm not saying Jake O'Brien would have been any better than Michael Keane today. He's got a long way to go. He's an experienced player. He's never played He's never played in the Premier League. But it's got to start somewhere, hasn't it? It's got to start somewhere. I said this in my Starting 11 show. It's got to start somewhere. Fans go into the game and they see Michael Keane's name on the team sheet, and it creates an atmosphere straight away of negativity. And I thought we got rid of this when he brought Mina back for him. I thought we'd got rid of this when he took him out the team last year and put Brandwaite in it, and he's still doing it. For me, I don't get that. I don't get that. I think there's an element of this like small team thing with Dyche. Everton fans expect something a bit more. And if you've bought a player, then he should be available to play. If you bought a player to be in the first team, then he should be available to play. If he's not, then why did you buy him? If he's not better than Michael Keane, then you shouldn't have bought him then. In many ways. And as a fan, and as just a fan myself, a normal fan, I see his name on the team sheet and I'm just like, whatever. And that's not Michael Keane's fault. I feel sorry for Michael Keane in many ways. Time's come and gone at Everton. And you just know what you're going to get. And you're going to get like, yeah, he's going to win all the headers and everything, but to me, it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. So, Michael Keane, a 5 for today's performance. Yeah, the whole defence was abysmal. Moving into midfield, it's just a kind of gay. I mean, the second goal, it's just. And I thought he'd done fine. I thought he'd had a decent game, fine. But giving the ball away like that was you just literally just give him the ball and then he was away. That to me was just abysmal. He's only won 3 out of 8 ground duels today, 2 out of 2 aerial duels, and I think the difference when you look at like their team against our team was just the way they hunted in packs again and pressed, and we don't do any of that. And I just thought that moment, he encapsulated the whole game. That moment, giving the ball away so easy, and then the play just runs through and scores unchallenged. I mean, that was dreadful. And it has been said lots of times about this Sagana guy, obviously by plenty of people, about the amount of times he just seemed to give away silly passes. Sometimes it comes back to bite you, and it really did today. It really did. He was meh. He was all right, but when you do something like that, you can't legislate for something like that, can you? That was abysmal. That was abysmal moment. It was just a gay. So give him a 5 as well. The bright spot, Tim Iroegbunam. I think we all had good feeling about him, which was mad. That's mad that he actually started the game. I thought he was great today. I thought he was great. Ground duels, he won 10 out of 18. Aerial duels, 1 out of 2. You think he'd have more aerial duels. But I thought he was great today. I thought he was the only one. I tell you, the best way to describe Tim Iroegbunam is, he is the player that people thought he had with Onana. He's the player. Definitely the player people thought we had with Tim Iroegbunam. So, sorry, with Onana. And I thought he does look a steal. He looks an absolute steal, to be honest. The fact that we got him for basically a swap with Dobbin, and it helped our PSR. I think we massively got the better end of the deal. Maybe that tells you. Maybe that tells you how good Villa's midfielding is. But I did think he was a real bright spot for us today. Was he perfect? No. I mean, he tired as the game got on. But I thought he was infectious. I thought he was good in the tackle, clean in the tackle. He got us going, and that's again, that's what we're talking about with a young player, is the opportunity to give him a game. He got minutes in pre-season. The space has opened up because James Garner's injured, and he's gone in there today, and he'll be saying to the manager, "This is my position." Now, it's one game, of course, and we'll see how he develops into more and more games when he's playing. Maybe when he's playing up against top quality midfields, or when we're having to be more defensive. I mean, I don't know how we're going to be more defensive, but in away games where the structure's slightly different. He had a few opportunities. I mean, he had one really good opportunity in the first half where he should have hit the target, and maybe that's something he needs to work on. But again, that's the opportunity. I know he has had experience. He's played in the Championship, and he has played a few Premier League games. It's not like it's his first game playing in the Premier League, but fair play to him. I thought he done well today. I think he's got to improve probably, like his pass accuracy was like 61%. That's got to be higher. That's probably a part of his game that's got to be better in midfield. But he was easily our best player today, and you could see that it wasn't just a case of everyone else was rubbish. He really was our best player. So to make a debut at Goodison, and of course in a game where hasn't gone our way, I thought he did really well. So Tim Iroegbunam, I would give a 7.7 for today's performance. Ahead of them, Abdoulaye Doucouré. How many times was he offside today? How many times was he offside? It was incredible. Offside 4 times he was offside. At one point, it was like he was playing up front, which, you've got to ask the question, then why isn't he playing up front? 21 touches, 69% pass accuracy. But you've got to ask the question, if he's going to play up front, why isn't he playing up? Why haven't we got someone else up front? If that's why not just play 4-4-2? Why not play in a split striker, playing as a number 10? I thought he looked a bit leggy today. He obviously went off in the 63rd minute for Ndai, but I thought he looked a little bit leggy, and the amount of times he was caught offside was worrying. I don't think he had he didn't have a particularly good game. I don't even have to say I don't think. I know he didn't have a particularly good game. And And that'll be an interesting position to see how that changes over the season, and whether we change that out, or or whether that's a position he keeps. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see whether someone can take that position. But the Corey, I would give a 5. Yeah. So the wide positions, Jack Harrison, obviously had a goal chalked off because he was offside. He was massively offside. But I did like the fact that the scoreboard told us why he was offside, because he was 4 foot offside, lads. That's why. Had a good shot early on, stung the palms of the goalkeeper. Probably one of our only attempts at goal in the entire game. Shots on target 1, shots off target 1, shots blocked. Dribble attempts 2 out of 5. Crosses 1 out of 4 successful. The wide men are a big problem for Everton. They are a massive problem for Everton, both of them. There'll always be a lot of talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I appreciate that. But the wide men are such a problem because they don't do anything. And I challenge anyone to tell me what they do, because they don't do anything. They're both squad players. Jack Harrison and McNeil are both squad players. It's as simple as that. They shouldn't be starting games for Everton Football Club. No issue. I've no issue saying that they should not be starting games for Everton. Neither of them are good enough. I watched both of them today. And Jack Harrison tries stuff that doesn't come off, and McNeil doesn't try stuff, so of course it doesn't come off. They're both not good enough, and I think more people should be honest with themselves about that. Is that both of them are hard-working players, but they have very little influence on our attacking ability. Harrison gets on the ball, but then his crossing isn't good enough, and he doesn't hit the target enough, and he doesn't beat enough people. And McNeil is good on set pieces, is good at picking the ball up and sort of running in diagonals across the pitch, but both of them are nowhere near good enough for Everton Football Club. And that's the hill I am prepared to die on. Whether Ndai can move one of them out the team, whether Lindstrom can move one out of the team, I don't know. But neither of them are good enough. Neither of them have got any pace. And I think what Brighton demonstrated today is the pace in the final third is the only commodity that actually matters. It's the only commodity that matters. Being able to beat a player, the defensive player, using pace alone is so important now in the game. Because once you get past them, you can do anything you want. They're never high enough up the pitch. And that meant today, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as always, whether you like him or you don't like him, whatever. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin finds himself outside of the box because he's picking up diagonal balls played by defenders. And he's outside the box then. And then by the time he gets the ball, lays it off, he doesn't get in the box, or the ball never comes to him. And they're just not good enough. And that's not me being horrible about our players. It's just the truth. They do not have any pace. The team doesn't have any pace. And I thought both of them were just equally poor today. The only McNeil's got going for him over Harrison is his set-piece deliveries are quite good. He puts the ball genuinely where it wants to be. So, Harrison and McNeil, both of them can have 4.5s. Because both of them are just, to me, are very, 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 very average footballers who I believe are squad players. And players that should be coming off the bench for Everton, not starting games for Everton. Both of them will have moments, don't get me wrong. Both of them will have moments where they will obviously do something, whether it's score a goal or have an assist or put a set piece in, whatever it is. Of course, they're professional footballers, they're Premier League players, of course they are. And both of them are capable of finding that one moment in a game. But unfortunately, they're just not. They just don't have the attributes to be modern day footballers in a Premier League team, and that is pace. That is all about pace, and that's it. Really, that's it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, yeah, I mean, he again is playing and feeding off long balls. Played 76 minutes today. No shots on target, no shots off target. That's the main issue once again with Dom, is that he's not having shots. He finds himself, as I said, outside the box far too much. We don't play in a way that gets the best of him. We don't provide crosses, and we don't get him into shooting areas because he is chasing a lot of those long diagonal balls. A lot of people will tell me, and a lot of people will say after that game, that he's not arsed, he's not committed, he doesn't want to be at the club. If those things are true, then that's on the manager to sort out. The manager has gone into pre-season deciding that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is number one striker no matter what, and that's on the man. If he is uncommitted, I said this after the Coventry game, if he is uncommitted, that's on the manager to sort out. He has to make a decision. He has made a decision. The decision is to play him. Again, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a player who thrives on crosses and thrives on balls down the middle, like we saw him score last week against Roma. If he's playing, he's a good target man in terms of he will hold the ball up for you. But then the next problem is what happens then. He wasn't very effective today, sadly. You know, if there's no VAR, then he gets a penalty and maybe scores a penalty, and that's him getting going. But I saw a player today that personally I thought worked the long balls, but then once he kept over and got it back, there was nothing. No, I never saw enough out of. I didn't see anything out of Beto to suggest Beto is a better player, because I don't think Beto is a better player. But the manager has decided that's the decision he's making. So I don't think Dom had a particular good game at all. But again, styles of play. Yeah. So Dom, a 5. And we'll wait and see what happens with that. And Dye came on, played 27 minutes, didn't really do anything. 10 touches of the ball. Won 3 out of 5 ground deals. I mean, that shouldn't matter. It should all be about the other things, shouldn't it? Dribble attempts 1, unsuccessful. No shots on target, no shots off target, no shots blocked. Again, it's about being creative, and he didn't really do anything. Didn't really have those moments. We were down to 10 men, so it was tough. For most of it, we were down to 10 men. Just trying to work out. So it was tough. It was tough on him. So yeah, can't really read too much into that, but I'll give him a 5. Could you do anything better? Came on for the last 14 minutes, plus stoppages, 8 touches. Again, no shots on target, no shots off target. Again, down to 10 men. So what could he possibly do in that time? Very little. So give him a 5 as well. And then Mason Holgate, which the manager had put Dwight McNeil in at right back, and then brought Mason Holgate on at right back. I mean, what's the point? What's the point? I mean, again, that's a decision that the people will look at, and just loads of people left as soon as that happened, because it's just like, well, what's the point? What is the point? You know, we played 16 minutes. I don't even think has he touched the ball. 3 touches of the ball. But people look at that and go, what's the point? You're bringing on a player that everyone, you know, wants out of the club. And what's the point? You know, is he just like doesn't want it to be embarrassing, doesn't want it to be stupid? People look at those decisions, like I said before, and just go, what's the point? What are we trying to do here? I don't know. I don't know what kind of decision that is by the manager, personally. But then a lot of people will say, well, he plays Dominic Calvert-Lewin and he hasn't signed the contract, so what difference does it make? I don't know. Listen, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough few months. It's going to be a long season. And again, pressure's up back on the manager now, I think, a little bit, just because that was just poor today. Poor. And players have got to sort it out quite quickly, and Spurs will be tough, and it puts lots of pressure on the next home game. But listen, beginning of the season was absolutely appalling. How we started last season was absolutely appalling. It took us best part of a month, and again we had injuries, and we've got injuries now. And the manager will say all this, won't he? So we'll see what happens anyway. Yeah, disappointing. Brighton a good side. No issues at all. They're a very good side, and I think where they are compared to where we are is just like, in terms of, I mean, it's mad because they earned the same amount of points we earned last season, which is mad to what. But it just shows you, as a football club and a structure, they're just miles ahead of us. Absolutely miles ahead. I mean, you know, their team has grown in the last few years. They've just replaced players with better players, and they looked such a good side. And obviously they had a lot of players out injured last season. That meant they didn't have as good a season as maybe people thought. But they're just miles ahead as a football club. And it's yeah, we just got to get through this season, haven't we? But big questions to be asked of this football club. This football club needs to be turned upside down. It really does. And you know, I think far too many people are just happy with the status quo, but it needs to be turned upside down. So there you go. Listen, make sure you check out my Glasgow Street reaction video. Make sure you check out Baz's videos as well. And I'll catch you all on Monday. We'll be live from 1 on YouTube. So I'll see you then. See you later.